So, and that's the great thing.
You recording this?
I am, sir.
Why is that?
Why is that? Would you mind identifying yourself, sir?
I'm a police officer.
Yep. What's your shoulder number, please, sir?
Well, why are you walking around a police?
No, I need you to identify yourself first, sir. You've approached me,
yes,
and I require you to actually identify yourself properly, sir.
Do you know why I've approached you?
Sir, I require you.
Do you know
we have nothing to say if you will not identify yourself.
Do you know why I've approached
we
you?
have nothing to say, sir.
Well, stop recording police.
You can't stop me recording,
listen,
sir.
this is a police building.
Yes.
For safety reasons.
Okay, madam, would you mind identifying yourself, please? Afternoon, madam. Okay, I hope you're safe and well.
Okay.
That's the main thing. Would you mind identifying yourself for me? Thank you very much, madam. And would you mind identifying yourself, please, ma'am? Thank you very much.
Sir,
yes.
You know why my colleague...
Yep, no, I will talk to you gladly. Because he wouldn't identify himself, that's why I'm not going to talk to the gentleman. But because you've actually identified yourself, I will talk to yourself if that's okay.
And do you know why my colleague began talking to you? You obviously...
The scene opens with a tense moment outside a police building. A civilian asks officers to identify themselves. One officer hesitates, refusing to provide his details, while another complies immediately. The narrator sets the stage. Even small interactions can reveal the delicate balance between public rights and police procedures.
Aware that there's implications, you're around a police building, you've walked up filming.
Yes, what's wrong with that, madam?
So there's implications because obviously it's a police building.
Yes, and
yeah. My colleague engaged
yeah,
with
that's
me,
fine.
that's
No, that's fine, madam. But he could have actually have done it in a way, and where I asked him to identify himself, like I did with yourself, and you identified yourself. And as you've seen, I'm standing here having a civil conversation with you. Now, he also turned his camera on, and he's meant to inform me that he's turned his camera on, which he has not done. Okay, and that's the thing. So when you look at it, he's failed to identify himself properly to me. He's failed to actually also tell me that he's turned his camera on. Now, I will actually tell you the reason why I'm here, okay, is because I'm doing an actual survey, purely because South London, I don't know if you're aware, actually has the highest rate, okay, of actual claims in against the police for assault.
Yeah.
Okay, and I come down, okay, to basically try and speak to police officers.
The civilian politely insists, emphasizing that proper identification is required by procedure. He explains he has nothing against speaking but will only engage with officers who follow protocol. The tension is palpable as the officer refuses, and the narrator adds context about public accountability and civil rights.
I'm not down here literally to stir anything up. As you can see, I'm completely talking to you. I'm really relaxed and calm, and that's how things always should be.
Yeah.
And this is the thing. I'm happy to engage with any police officer as long as they actually follow what their procedure is and actually identify themselves to me, etc. And then I will stand here gladly and identify myself.
So my colleague's shoulder number is on display for you to see.
Okay.
And also he
Well,
doesn't actually
2867. He actually does, because it's in your code of practice. It's actually it's in your code of practice that if you actually turn on your camera, you are meant to inform a member of the public. Okay, now just so you know, I've been out here for about half an hour. Okay, I've had loads of officers go in. Okay, and literally I've had an enjoyable half an hour or so here. Okay, which was really nice and pleasant. And it's like with yourself.
A female officer identifies herself, and the civilian engages respectfully. The conversation highlights how clear communication changes interactions. The narrator explains that the goal isn't confrontation, but ensuring officers adhere to rules when dealing with the public.
I'm having a really nice conversation, okay? As I said, the only problem that I actually had was where this officer here failed to actually identify himself.
I haven't failed to identify.
Okay? Yes, you did, sir. Yes, you did, sir. Sir, I asked you for your shoulder number. You failed to identify. What security reasons are they, sir?
Why would any person come?
What security reasons are they, sir? What security reasons are they, sir? You won't answer me. You said something to me, but you won't answer the question.
What was the question?
What security questions are that then, sir?
You've come here, all right?
Yes.
I'm sure you live in the UK. I'm
okay.
Sure
well, if I didn't live in the UK, I wouldn't be here, would I, sir?
Right. I'm sure you've heard about terrorism.
Okay. So, are you calling me a terrorist?
I'm not. Okay. But why would you record a police building?
Because I'm legally entitled to, and I'm down here to actually do something, sir.
If I engage talking
to
you
are meant to identify yourself, sir.
All you could have done, sir.
No, sir. It's not my actual job.
The civilian points out that officers must inform people when filming. He calmly explains that one officer failed to announce his camera use. The narrator emphasizes that proper procedure protects both officers and civilians, preventing unnecessary misunderstandings.
It's not my job to actually do that. It is your job to identify yourself to a member of the public, and if you fail to do that, I will put in a report in, and you will be retrained, sir.
No, I will not.
Yes, you will, sir.
Thank you very
because
much.
you failed to
I'm not saying
identify
I'm not
yourself.
talking with you.
Yes,
Will
madam.
you tell me your name at all, please?
No, I don't need to, madam.
Actually, that's fine.
Okay.
I asked and you've said no. That's
No
fine.
problem.
What I will ask now is that you kindly move away from the back gate of the police
No,
station.
I'm going to carry on filming where I want to film. Okay, exactly where I'm legally allowed to film.
Just kindly ask if you can move away.
Well, no, I've not finished where I am at the moment,
If you
madam.
can move away, please, from the back gate, because police need access to
Yeah, and I won't obstruct any police or vehicles going in and out.
If you can kindly move backwards, that's all I ask.
Well, yeah, I'm round here literally to finish off what I'm doing. Okay, and that's the thing. Okay, no problem. Thank you very much for your time. I really appreciate it. Thank you very much as well. Okay, and do have a lovely afternoon.
The civilian clarifies he is conducting a survey in South London, a place with the highest rate of complaints against police for assault. He reassures the officers he is calm and non-confrontational. The narrator notes that gathering data on public police interactions is crucial for accountability.
That's the receipt.
Okay, so you can see from that this officer was completely rude, and literally he did not, and even now he's still deciding that he actually wants to try and make a comment to me, considering I'm actually talking to my actual camera, and he's saying yeah whatever, and he's going blah. Okay, but he's just one of those officers that are completely ignorant and nothing more. Okay, to actually come out with the actual attitude in which he's got. Afternoon, gents. How are you? Good, not too bad. You having a good day?
Very well, yes.
Good. Okay, so you can see from that. Okay, there are some really lovely officers. Okay, those two that just went in really nice. Even the two actual WPCs that I was talking to.
He explains why the earlier officer's approach was incorrect, failing to identify himself and not notifying about the camera. The narrator highlights that small procedural lapses can escalate tension, even when intentions are harmless.
Afternoon, sir. How are you?
I'm good.
You having a good day? Not too bad, sir. Not too bad.
Everything all right?
Everything's good. Everything's good, sir.
Good.
Would you mind identifying yourself for me, sir? Afternoon, sir. Not too bad. Not too bad. Having a good day?
Yeah, can't
Good.
complain, mate.
Would you mind just identifying yourself for me, sir?
Yeah, 1929 Charlie Echo.
No worries. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much.
What are you feeling for having
Oh no, I'm just doing a quick survey, purely because I just want to know from a police officer, do you think that it's appropriate for somebody else to assault somebody?
for somebody else to assault somebody?
Yeah.
Of course it's not appropriate.
Yeah,
It's an
yeah,
offence,
exactly.
isn't it?
And I think that is what I would say virtually 100% of the people would actually say, that it's not appropriate for an assault to be made on somebody. But I don't know if you're aware, at this moment in time, South London has the biggest amount of complaints that have actually gone in from members of the public saying about the police have actually assaulted them.
The officer refuses to answer questions about security concerns, implying surveillance suspicion. The civilian remains composed, reminding viewers that filming public buildings is legal and that transparency is key in maintaining civil liberties.
Okay, now I was completely shocked by that when I looked at it, okay, and seen the actual figures, and it's literally, as you said, you don't agree with somebody assaulting somebody, and that's something that shouldn't happen.
That's why we carry body on video and have an investigations department that looks into it.
Yeah, but then the cameras don't always go on, and that's the thing, and there has been a number of cases where camera footage and so on has actually been lost and so on.
Do you have examples of those?
Yeah, there's quite a lot of examples that I have, yes.
Any names at all?
I won't give somebody's name, okay, that's actually going through it, okay, because it's not appropriate for me to do so.
How can we help you today, sir?
As I've already told your colleague what I'm doing, sir.
What's that, sorry?
Okay, well, do I need to repeat myself?
Yeah, if you could just repeat yourself so I can just know what you're doing.
Okay, I'm down here to do a survey, sir.
Do a survey.
Yes.
Of?
Exactly what you heard me just speaking to this officer about.
A survey of officers assaulting
Okay,
people.
well, first of all, would you mind identifying yourself for me, sir?
A discussion arises about personal space and legal rights. The civilian asserts he will film where legally allowed, while the officer asks him to step away. The narrator points out the careful balance between freedom of action and respecting law enforcement boundaries.
My name's PC Player,
Yep, and your collar number, please?
3441 Charlie Echo.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
That's okay.
Okay. Yeah. All what it is basically a survey, literally to do with thoughts that whether or not it's public to public, okay, or it's police on public, whether or not you feel that as serving officers and as a human being, most of all, okay, if you feel that that's actually appropriate or not. Literally, as a human being, whether or not you feel that an assault on somebody is appropriate. Yeah.
Well, of course it's not appropriate, and that's why we all do our jobs.
Perfect.
We deal with people that have been assaulted,
Yep.
and people that have assaulted others.
Yeah.
So that is our job.
Yeah. No,
I mean, one of our many jobs.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that is one of our jobs to prevent that and to stop that from happening.
Correct. Yep. And
Okay,
as I already
so-
said to this other officer, it's like, did you actually know that South London has the biggest amount of actual allegations made towards
No,
officers?
I didn't know that, but I don't
Yeah.
work in South London either. So
Yeah. Well, you're in South London.
I am today.
The civilian comments on the rude and arrogant behavior of one officer, contrasting it with other polite officers. The narrator explains that individual attitudes significantly shape public perception of policing.
But I'm not based in South London.
Okay, where are you normally based, sir?
I'm based in Hackney.
Oh, I know Hackney quite well. Just
based
up
in
by
Stoke
Dalston.
Newington.
Just up by Dalston. No, are you going to be at Stoke Newington or no? You're further
Stoke
down, aren't you?
Newington.
Yeah.
Near Dalston.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's cool. Can I say thank you very much for your time? I really appreciate it. Okay, and most of all, do have a lovely afternoon.
And
Okay,
you, sir.
and stay safe.
And if you want information, then you can go through our.
Don't tell me the press office. Okay, I've sent literally about 40 emails. Okay, through to your press office, and called the number God knows how
Have you got
many
a press
times.
pass?
Have I got a press pass?
Yeah.
No, sir.
Okay.
Okay,
I
and-
suggest you look at obtaining a press pass.
Yep.
Because once you've obtained a press pass, then they're probably more likely to.
Yeah, but then as a member of the public, you're entitled to also go through the actual press office, and literally nobody ever seems to get back from the press office.
Okay. I
Okay.
can't comment on.
No,
I've never
that's fine,
tried,
sir.
so
That's
I
not a
wouldn't be
problem
able
at
to
all.
tell you
That's not a problem.
What their process.
A second officer identifies himself. The civilian continues his survey, asking about assaults and appropriate behavior. The narrator notes that such surveys provide insight into public trust and accountability in policing.
Not a problem. As I said, thank you very much for your time. I really do appreciate it, sir.
Okay. Right.
Okay? No worries, sir.
Quick one. I was talking to our ops room, okay? Obviously, you do bear in mind that officers that work in this building have also got private lifestyle, okay? When they finish work and they are going home, they wouldn't appreciate someone reporting them, okay?
Okay,
So
whether or not...
just bear that in mind.
Yeah,
okay?
no, that's fine, sir.
I'm not going to tell you what to do. You are a grown man, okay? What I'm saying to you, just bear that in mind. That officers have got privacy to their lifestyle.
Yep, and sir, that is perfectly fine.
Work and they want to go.
Sir, that is perfectly fine, and I
That's all I wanted to
Sir,
say to you.
that is perfectly fine, and I respect that fully.
Yeah.
Okay, but what you've also got to remember, okay, the way that you actually first approached me, okay, and this was the thing. That was why it went the way that it did at first, because I asked you one simple question, just to identify yourself. Nothing else. Nothing else, sir.
Should have numbers.
Yeah, but where I was standing and where you were
Okay,
standing.
fair enough.
The civilian reveals that South London has the highest number of public complaints against officers. The officer agrees assault is unacceptable, illustrating the contrast between policy and perception. The narrator underscores the importance of transparency and reporting.
It weren't visible.
If you haven't seen it, fair enough. but
Okay,
we
and that
all
was
wear
the actual problem. Now you can see, you've come to me now,
Yep.
okay, you said that, and as I said, I always do respect the job that you do, okay, and I was down here to literally ask a few questions, as you said, even with those other officers just now,
Yep.
the questions that I would have liked to have actually have asked you
Yep.
is exactly what I just asked them, and it was a really nice actual interaction,
Fair enough.
and that is purely what it is about. Okay, it's about the actual interaction,
Yeah.
and the way that you first came to me, that's why it was wrong in the way that you did.
I would say the way I came to you first, I was not rude.
You were, sir. You don't realise it, but you were.
I was not rude. You asked me for my number, and I said it's there.
Yep.
Obviously.
No, but sir.
Even if I haven't said it, it's there.
Yeah, but
Anybody
you.
sees my number.
Yeah, but then
We
you don't.
display our
Yeah, but then,
numbers.
sir, you don't always know if somebody has any form of dyslexia or anything else,
Fair
and
enough.
actually can't actually identify numbers.
Fair enough.
And that is the actual thing. That is why it actually needs to be done verbally.
Okay, I've told you that. Okay, like I said.
The discussion moves to legal rights, including filming under Section 43. The civilian questions officers about reasonable suspicion and the history of surveillance laws. The narrator explains the legal framework that governs public police interactions.
All I'm going to say to that, what I've said is, I hope it doesn't lead to that, but if you bear in mind, people go, see that officer just come home?
Yep.
Yeah. if you keep on doing that, all
Yeah,
right?
but I will make sure that stuff like that,
Okay.
okay, doesn't go anywhere near anything, okay?
cool.
And that is what I
Well, I was
respect.
gonna say that if you keep on doing that, somebody else, maybe not us,
And that's fine,
somebody
sir.
else will possibly, you possibly end up being searched.
Yeah.
Or
What would I be searched for? I've done nothing wrong, sir.
Obviously, if you record in a police building,
Yeah, which is perfectly
you've got
legal.
powers under section 43 of
Under what?
section 43 of the
Under section 43.
Okay.
So as I
But
said
I'm
to you,
not saying we're doing
but for
No.
that you would have to have reasonable, actual evidence for that.
Have you heard of hostile reconnaissance before?
And what do you mean by that, sir?
Okay, so have you heard of reconnaissance?
Yes, I have.
Yeah, so the hostel bit is like you coming around to those secured buildings, okay? And then you recording, I'm thinking, what are you recording that for? Do you know what I mean?
Despite earlier tension, both parties acknowledge each other's roles and responsibilities. The civilian stresses privacy and proper procedure. The narrator notes that respectful dialogue can resolve misunderstandings without escalation.
Yeah, but then I will tell you perfectly clear, if you actually believed, if you actually had any reasonable suspicion what you're meant to have, okay, to use section 43, because you used to have a section 44, but that was removed purely because the police abused it, and at this moment in time, that is what's being used. For you to actually even mention section 43 to me should never happen. Because if you actually believed I was a terrorist,
Yes.
okay, and even these officers as well,
Yeah.
I would be on the floor.
Well, I never
okay,
said, I never said
but this is
you
the
be a
thing.
terrorist.
For you
I
to
said
even
maybe
search me,
somebody else would do that.
yeah, but sir,
okay?
for
Did I
any
say
officer,
you're a terrorist?
no, but then
I
you
never-
were
okay.
but then you
I
were
said-
explaining
I said
it
you-
to do with
I
what
said-
somebody
I said
else
to you-
might do.
Yes.
Yes,
Of course.
and I understand
We are
that.
all the same.
Yep.
I think differently.
Yep.
She differently. Other officers
Yep.
think differently. So I'm telling you that could happen. I'm
Yeah,
not saying it will.
but then, as I told you, for
Okay.
them to actually do that,
Okay.
they have to have
All right.
reasonable
So,
ground and
we're
reasonable
gonna go,
suspicion.
We're gonna go.
Okay,
But
so what I will
only
say-
advice to you is, please.
The civilian thanks officers for their time, emphasizing that the survey's purpose is to foster cooperation between police and the public. The narrator reflects on how small interactions like these reveal systemic challenges and opportunities for improvement.
As I've said it earlier, we've all got privacy to our lives.
And that's perfectly fine. And as I told you,
appreciate it, and
I
we will
respect
appreciate
that.
it if you don't report
And
people
sir,
coming
as I
out
told
to
you,
do
I
it.
respect that fully. Okay.
Okay.
And one thing I will say to you,
Yeah.
okay, I do respect you because you came up to me,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
and then we've had this conversation,
Yeah.
okay. I won't take this any further because there's no point. Okay,
Yeah.
and that's the thing. Okay, all what I wanted to do
Yeah.
was actually have a nice interaction,
Okay.
and that's exactly what I done.
We're not.
Okay.
Please, we're not bad people.
Oh, I know you're not, sir. You don't have to tell me, sir. I can see everything that you guys have had to do, okay? And as I said, I was down here to do a survey, okay? And that's exactly what I'm in the middle of doing. And most of all, it is about the actual interaction of what members of the public actually do have with the police, okay? And that, at the end of the day, is the main thing because it takes the public and it takes the police to work together for things to work.
Cool. So we're gonna go. I
No
wish you
worries,
all the
sir.
best,
Okay, no worries. And you have a lovely afternoon. Okay, take care. Bye.
The footage ends with a civilian summarizing the day's events. The narrator closes, "Transparency, respect, and communication. These are the pillars of trust between the public and those sworn to protect them. Every interaction matters."